boys, boys, and girls, look, as a model builder, there are some things that you need to consider when building a locomotive that has to move along tracks. First thing being that you have enough space here that you don't run into obstacles. No track is perfectly straight in model railroads. There's always that little undulation. And because of this huge overhang here, a loco this size will show you that very, very quickly. Okay, so you need to take into consideration that you need that high enough. That's not the main problem, however. To get the chassis on this thing, and you must remember, I climbed on top of this loco and measured every little thing by hand with a little 15-meter tape measure. The chassis here is actually quite a deep chassis on the GMs. All right. Now, to get that to look right, you got to make it very close to scale there. But what inevitably happens now, you need these motor blocks to take much shorter radiuses than the real one. So this needs to move sideways quite a bit more than the real one. And to do that, because your mounting block's right there, to do that, you need to lift it slightly so that everything underneath there can move freely. Which, in my opinion, being from Benoni and loving dropped things, and I've made a video before about stance and the effects on a loco, you know, you can't go as low as it should be because you need to clear stuff. So in the end, if you take that distance from there to the top of this air cylinder, it is about 3 millimeters too high, which we obviously made a plan with by lengthening the pilots and doing some other little modifications that hides it. Okay, you need to do that, you know, to still make the overall loco look right. Now, Limo was very smart. When they did their little H01, all right, this thing, okay, you can see there that this distance is perfect. Because what they did was they compensated on the chassis deepness. So they made it a bit smaller because it's not that obvious in HO, so that these could turn underneath it. Plus, they have a small little pivot in the middle, and these frames clip onto this. Whereas with our locos, we sitting at 7 and 8 kg locos, our load bearing is on the bearings at the bottom here. So you need a pretty beefy mounting block into the chassis, and you need a pretty beefy side frame to carry the weight. Okay, which is all things that, to my eye, distract from the loco. You know, I always wondered what it would look like if I could build a loco perfectly to the right height and fit all the stuff to it, like underneath here, the inter-bogie connections. I could do all that, you know, and build a loco in large scale. That's exactly right. But that was never going to happen, was it? Oh, yes, it is. So INF Engineering asked me to build them a Praza loco, which is a problem because I've never done a Praza loco, so I had to get the colors mixed. You know, it's got a more bluer gray than ours, the Spoornet stuff. So let me just show you. There's the blue, all right, and then the gray is here some. There's the gray. See, it's a very much a darker bluish gray to the Spoornet gray. And there they are all in tins so that I can spray this mother. But the thing is, and bear with me, let me just get my chair. They want a static model. So this thing is not going anywhere. It's standing dead still in its little display case. Okay, so don't worry about the cab because they sent me the wrong cab. We're still waiting for the right cab. It's on the printer as we speak. Also, there is no doors on it yet because I'm still busy sanding. But look at the stance on this thing. Ha! It changes the whole model. Boom! To my eye, at least. Because now, all of a sudden, you can see the distance here to there is perfect. The chassis is deep enough. And remember, we have a 37mm wheel with a 3mm flange to make the ones there that run track well. Now, so you don't have derailments and all that sort of stuff. So what happens is you see the flange, but you never see the side of the wheel and the real size of it. This wheel should be 42mm. And this is what we've done. So we printed them in 42mm. You check the little flange there. There's about 0 flange there. And now you have a loco that lifted up on its actual diameter, outside diameter of the wheel rim, lifted up 5mm. So that I could take and drop here, which makes it absolutely work out perfectly. So now you sit with a loco that is at that right height, and man, oh man, is this beautiful. Look at it from the front here. Check that, you see. Now, I know there's oaks that wouldn't know what I'm on about, and I understand that. But if you sit here and look at this thing and love this loco as much as I do, that is absolutely chalk and cheese from what we built that's moving. I wish I could build the loco like this. Okay, this is not really in its spot. It needs to go up a bit to about there. And then obviously it will stand on the track. Why is there a... But that's the height of the... Look, it will stand on the track. So that's the height of the pilot. And another thing is, on the GMs, you have, on the 34, you have a bracket that comes out here with a thick chain. It's only about, it's only 2 loops in it. It goes onto the chassis there that I also could never do because the chassis needs to move way more than the real one. So on this one, I can do that. I'm also going to build the full chassis interaction at the bottom there. And can you imagine what that's going to look like? You know, you're going to have that knuckle in the middle there and the 4 arms going to the... It's going to be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go to town on this thing. You know, like I said to the guy when this whole deal started was, look, listen, I can't build you a static model and do it for 1/3 of the price of one that runs. It's just not going to work like that, because it's going to take you the same time to build this, if not more, because you're going to chuck detail at it. And it's all scratch build stuff that I've never done before. So he said, no, it's fine. Build the train. Yeah, that's the type of customer you want. Pay us for your time, and I need to give this oak a model that will, look at that, man, that will satisfy him 100%. You know, if you look at that angle there, when this thing is higher up on its wheels, there's an awkwardness here, there, that is very, very noticeable on the ones that run. That's always irritated the crap out of me. And there's no way around it. You can't hide it or whatever, because there's nothing here to hide it. But on this one, that fatness of the chassis rail there takes that away, because the motor block actually sits inside the chassis like it's supposed to be. I just thought, for interest's sake, I'd tell you this. So if you don't like my voice, or you don't want to hear a story or whatever, it's a bit late now, isn't it? Yes, dudes, yes. So I will keep you updated on this. I'm not going to show you anything else. I can't build this now. I've got to build a GE in between, but I'm waiting for prints. So I thought, while I'm waiting, I'm going to sit and do nothing. I can not build those up top there because I'm not in the mood at the moment. I'm in locomotive mode. So I can fiddle with this thing a bit. Planning somewhere today to glue that body together and start with the doors. Why? Because I can. Right, so what do you folks think? Can you actually see the difference, or can't you? It's a hell of a lot of stuff with the naked eye that changes for me when it's at that height. Okay. Anyway, dudes, we'll speak later. Let me know in the comments what you think. Goed julle oukies, tot ziens.